The Soybean School on realagriculture.com is brought to you by Pride Seeds, Cruiser Max Vibrance, High Stick NT, and the Manitoba Pulse Growers.
I'm Lindsay Smith with realagriculture.com. I'm joined today by Vikram. He's a plant pathologist with Mafford, and we are talking soybean diseases and maybe some non-diseases as well. So Vikram, walk me through what farmers might be seeing in their soybean fields.
Right now, because of a lot of rains that we have had, intermittent, every field has brown spot disease in the lower part of the canopy. And if you want to have a quick look, here we can see that the leaves at the bottom have the brown spotting, and I'll just have this is what the brown spot looks like, and to confirm that it is brown spot, you can also go to the back and it should have some brown spotting. Okay, and on the top of this crop we have another disease called bacterial blight, which is a bacterial disease, and this one spreads around with the wind and rain, and when the strong winds ruffle the leaves, they get injured. We don't see that injury, but it is a good entry point for the bacteria to enter.
Now, it's a bacterial blight. What's fungicide going to do?
On a bacterial disease, there is no fungicide that will work, and so it is something that the growers will have to live with, or if that becomes an annual issue, look for a variety which has some resistance to it.
Okay, so now brown spot, it has been a wet year. It looks a little troublesome. Are we at economic thresholds for a fungicide application for something like that, or is this wait and see for farmers?
At the moment, it is a wait and see. I rate my crops or plant diseases on a 0 to 5 scale, and if they're reaching 2 or 3 and there is a rain forecast, it's going to be moist for most of the period, then you would want to put some fungicide. Currently in Manitoba, fungicide application in soybeans for disease control has not been very economical. The crops in general are healthy, and it is going to be an issue only in fields where you have soybean after soybean for many, many years. And in that condition, and if they have had sclerotinia, for example, they may require some fungicide application. But in most fields currently, Manitoba soybeans do not need fungicide application. That is my opinion.
Yep, okay. Now, we did look at brown spot. There is something else in this crop that could be confused for brown spot on the leaves. What would that be?
In some cases, when we apply certain herbicides, and either it is at wrong timing or it is at a different concentration, then you would see some spots on the leaves. If you are interested, I can just take you to those spots and show you what the brown spot looks like and what a chemical damage looks like. Here I have a plant in my hand which has brown spot. You can see the brown spot disease is also showing up on the underside of the leaf. However, these brownings on this leaf is showing on the top, but on the underside it is burnt badly, and this one on the underside doesn't have those kind of browning. You have brown here, but on the underside there's hardly anything. Okay. And you cannot trace that browning directly to that. So this one appears to be a necrosis or damage because of the chemical that I had applied here. And so it is important to also note that it is mostly on the top leaves and not in the bottom. So that is the way you can differentiate between a brown spot and sometimes the chemical damage.
Now we also are seeing a bit of downy mildew in this crop. What does downy mildew look like in soybeans at this point?
Okay, let me take you to those plants. Okay, here I have in my hand a leaf which has been affected by downy mildew, it has a pale green color on the top side, and on the underside you would in humid conditions see that there is some mildewy growth. So it is called downy mildew for that reason, that growth is. This particular disease, when it becomes more serious or the leaf spots become older, will have dark colors, and all around it will be a very strong yellow. And if you look at the underside, if you are able to take a close-up, here you would see that there is some mildew growth happening. And so this is downy mildew. Fortunately, in Manitoba, currently it is not a disease of much concern. It is, however, transmitted also or dispersed by the seed. Seeds can get infected and take the disease to non-affected areas.
Okay, now one last point, just a quick update on soybean cyst nematode. I mean, we know it's not a disease, but certainly it's, or a leaf disease, but it's certainly a very important thing that's on the radar of a lot of Ontario growers. Do Manitoba farmers need to be scouting for soybean cyst nematode? When should we be worried about it?
Soybean cyst nematode is an issue, a big issue for Ontario growers, and it is found in many of the U.S. states bordering our country. North Dakota and Minnesota, I think they have the problem, and the cysts of the nematode, they can move with water or with the soil tag that comes with different crops. And currently Manitoba has no confirmed case of soybean cyst nematode problem, but I think it is a matter of time. The federal government has deregulated the disease, and we have to wait and see what happens in the coming few years. There is a program or a project which is funded by the Manitoba Pulse Growers Association to monitor for the soybean cyst nematode problems in the province. So we have to wait for the results. Last year's findings were we did not have any positives. So at the moment we do not have it, but we have to be extremely cautious. This is one of the most damaging soybean disease in the in the crop, and we need to be very, very sure that we don't have it. This is probably going to be on the same category as the clubroot of canola, where more and more biosecurity or soil movement has to be prevented, and the growers will have to take extra additional steps to prevent soil movement from one field to the other.
All right, thank you so much, Vikram.
All right, take care.